Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit education or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This video was made for entertainment purposes and is transformative in nature.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
No.
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Suppose I had some money in my pocket. Suppose I gave you $1 to say that you're an American Negro. This is money now. Money talks. Money talks. This dollar. And if you don't say it, you don't get it. You're an American Negro, aren't you?
No.
You won't have any money. You know you need money, don't you?
Yes.
You need money to live, don't you?
Yes.
All right. All you have to say, Leon, is that you're an American Negro.
Hello and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. I am your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is We Up Report. We Up Report is to bring news, articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's about news, video, website, or quote from publication. As your whiteologist, we are here to give honor and to our ancestors. You know, we are back. Found the way. For those of y'all who didn't think we could ever get back here to once again, we are back with the full show that we've always brought. So prepare yourself as we're going to get into this, because we today in the present generations, we give honor to our ancestors. Today's date is July 3rd, 2021. The day before is 402 years of no independence. Let me say that again. 402 years of no independence. Well, I was sitting on this one for a day or so. I seen Robert L. Johnson talk about he calling for the $14 trillion of reparations. Some of y'all heard about it. Some of y'all may have not heard of it, but we're going to talk about that. Also the fact that the United Nations came out about its report and then its determination and what it says and some of the things that we always knew. I guess sometimes we need somebody outside of us to validate those of us who do speak on that. And the fact that we're talking about reparations from Robert Johnson, speaking about 14 trillion, the UN's determined on its report. But I ran across something that some of y'all probably didn't hear about. I seen where there could be a down payment for reparations. Well, stay tuned as we get into this report. Hey, how's y'all doing, everybody? Again, this is your host, the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Blow Your Minds, and welcome to We Up Report. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to the fam, those who've been coming over here, slowly matriculating in, getting in here, and clicking on that like, share, and subscribe button. Well, if you're subscribed, I guess you don't need to hit that. But anyway, thank each and every one of you kind for coming over here and patronizing by at least coming to visit a brother. We thank you kindly over here. We report. Passerbyers, thank you for passing by. This is the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Go down the aisle, having to see something to make you feel some kind of way. Remember, the motto of my show is the truth. Don't need no partner. Well, as I was saying there in the intro there, we are 402 years of no independence. Now, you know, some people who may be, you know, how flies in the wall make sometimes be in there just observing. Sometimes they can call that kind, what they call those things, a drone, right? Coming in here, they're like a drone. A drone is like a fly, right? It could be any unmanned flying object, right? So they can pretend they fly, come up in there, sit up in the wall, and observing and listening, and may be a little offended by it. Be like, wait, what do you mean? No independence? Aren't you American? More than many, and more than most, as being the country that, you know, built, you know, but we'll get into that another as we go on. So anyway, with that being said, so many people will assume that because we speak of the plight, the imbalance, the disenfranchisement, those things that don't equate to us being totally submerged in the writings that was to create the country according to what they say and by the Constitution and so forth and so on. So we've always still been fighting. So for those who had a day off, this is the time for you to get your family together, go ahead and barbecue, drink some beer, talk a little talk of that, you know what I'm saying? Talk, that little talk. And so anyway, this topic is not a new topic. It's a topic that has really been reverberating since about 2000 and we're going to say 18, strongly getting on before I got to that 400-year anniversary, according to their count. So I had seen these stories here, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't go by. I didn't see too many people touch it, so I decided I would go ahead and put something together on it. But let me go ahead, just in case you clicked on the video due to the, let's say the thumbnail, right? You might have clicked on through the thumbnail. Let me go ahead and show that thumbnail right for you real quick. The down payment for reparations. Let me say that again. The down payment for reparation. What is you talking about, Mr. Mrblowsurmind? I don't know. What is you talking about? What talking about down payment? Say that 5 times fast. You know what I'm saying? You try to put all that at one time, make that one. You know what I'm saying? You know how we are. We'll cut off the inner word, but this what I just did was I put down payment and for reparation all in one word, down payment for that. That's what I just said, right? But anyway, ain't been drinking or nothing like that. Just having some fun with this. But anyway, the serious note of this is, as you see there on the thumbnail there, you see the UN, Miss Bachelet, I think her name is. And then you see them that was in those two that we'll talk about as we go into that. And you see behind them, I got that smiley smirk on him face. I said him face. Got that smiley smirk on him face. Because the word done carried out again that Robert Johnson is called for. He got a specific number that he's throwing out there. As a billionaire himself, as a matter of fact, I think he's considered the first billionaire in the United States. And I don't know, you know, when we talk about Madam C.J. Walker and from what she did until now, I mean, we don't know who the families are now, who then the heirs and heiresses to her fortune, but I'm pretty sure she probably would have been quadrupling there by now, if there's a such word. But anyway, so Robert Johnson has said that he put a number out there of $14 trillion, and a lot of people might be looking at, well, where the hell are we going to get this $14 trillion from? Well, behind him and behind them, don't you see that stacks of gold there? There's some stacks of gold there for a reason. Well, when you get done with this story today, I'm going to tell you about some gold and some history, and it is for us to determine whose gold is this. Stay tuned. Whose gold is this? Oh yeah, this is the most hated show on the Black Corner Internet. This is the show that is going on an anniversary. Been snuffed out all this time. Most people would have gone here, packed up, and called it quits. Nah, I'm cut from the cloth. We don't quit. We stick it out. That's been our history. You know, a lot of people got that thing, they want to get it, pack up and run and all that good stuff. That's fine. You built like that. You've been through it all. And they got some other stuff coming, but I don't know if I'm going to talk about it on this one or on the next video. But anyway, let's go ahead and let me get up into some of this anyway. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming over here. And I told you I was going to find a way, y'all. I told you I was going to find a way. So this way, he seemed like I might be able to do it the way I've been doing it so that you can get the fullness. Some of those who knew came over here, kind of seen that little teeny-weeny, tiny-weeny, little bitty screen and whatnot, and was like, man, what kind of show is this? Now, this is what we really do over here. We are the progeny. We are the parents of the beginning of all shows in the Black Corner. You heard what I said, all who give you that show business type when they do their dissertations and their shows and whatnot. I remember when everybody else just came on. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So, let me show you what the UN had said, right? Because some of y'all might know, some of these shows in here, they don't cover none of this stuff. They just think that, trend news is good, but that don't mean that it's bad. So anyway, let's, are we ready to do that, sir? Are we ready to do that? Yeah, go ahead and let's go over there and then come back and then come over to there. Let's go over to there and do this. Here, let's go. All right, I think we back, right? Yeah, we back. We back? Is we back? Yeah, I think we back. Yeah, we back. Okay. So, as you see on your screen there, it says the UN Rights Chief, reparations needed for people facing racism. Let me say that again. UN Rights Chief, reparations needed for people facing racism. Now, again, this story had came out, as you've seen, June 28th of 2021. And the UN, the United Nations, right? When they built that, it's kind of like, all the nations come together about the universal problems, and they come to convene together. And supposedly their input and insight and try to resolve some of the issues, but then there are the 7 powers that have veto power. The rest of them are just kind of, subsidiaries, part of it. They can gripe, but I don't know how much they can push, but we're going to talk about that. But anyway, so, this is coming out the AP out of Geneva. And who you see on your screen there is the UN Human Rights Chief, who they talk about this landmark report that they came up. And they had basis basically on after the fact of the killing of George Floyd, and supposedly were urging the countries worldwide to do something to help end discrimination. I don't know how that is just on an announcement on itself. I think, like a proclamation is just an announcement. I don't know how you're going to get that to fruition. That means from the top on down. So anyway, they talk about how violence and systemic racism against people of African descent, right? They specify people of African descent, solely. And she is asking for making amends to them, being those of African descent. And she's also said, including in this amendment, I need these countries, we need include in this amending, we need it through reparations. Let me say that again. Now, here is the UN Human Rights Chief, had this landmark report, they say, And they're urging all the countries worldwide to put in help into discrimination, violence, systemic racism, particularly against African Americans and African descent people, and make amends to them through reparations. Now, again, the person who's the UN Human Rights Chief, her name is Michelle Bachelet, right? She's the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. And so in this report, it looks like they looked at the roots of centuries of mistreatment, they say, by Africans and people of African descent. And notably, they are the crux of the foundation of this report is more about the transatlantic slave trade. And they're trying to seek transformative ways to address and see how from the time of the transatlantic slave trade to now and how this has impacted in the lives of Africans and Africans of descent. And so this report took about a year in the making, and seeing the intensity of worldwide blight of racism and the impact of people of African descent, and especially when we talk about here in the United States, they call it the high profile killings of unarmed black people, particularly here in the United States. And they also say about elsewhere in general. So they believe that today, and how we see a lot of activism, a lot of people protesting, they believe this is a momentous opportunity to make this a turning point for racial equality and justice. This is what they said. This is what the report is determining, right? Now, this comes from the UN. This ain't Mrblowsurmind. I'm just here as, the bearer of news. Now, accordingly, this report aims to speed up the actions. What they say, the countries that are being named, but primarily this report is solely, I ain't gonna say solely, again, it's saying African and African descent, but the crux of the report is focusing on what then took place. Again, it's a year in the making from the fact of George Floyd. Some of us remember when Felonice Floyd and the lawyer, right, and they went up to the UN. And, there's a lot of people who say, well, you guys are, you're not sovereigns, and there is no land called black. One thing you must understand is, one thing have you noticed, that even though these people, and I'm not saying what they're saying don't have any merit, but if that's the game you playing, that's the game you're playing. For some people, got to be hypothetical to think this way. Some of us, we know from firsthand. Have you ever played some damn body? Have you ever owed somebody and act like your ass didn't owe them nothing? Right? Or had somebody who owed you and act like they didn't owe you something? Right? And trying to make some rules and stipulations and, avoiding you and all this stuff. Between you and that person, they know what the truth is, right? Now, people who are spectators, those people who may be, even associates and friends of the two individuals, but don't know the inner workings of what done took place. But the mano y mano, man to man, woman to woman, they know what it is. Now, again, everybody may subscribe to the fact that we as Black Americans have all been traversed over here on these Santa Panenta and the whole, Christopher Columbus nonsense, right? Well, some of us subscribe to the fact that we was here even before all that. And what that being said is, or what it means is that you can say specifically that you brought us here, right? So some of us here, so that means that some of us could be POWs. We could be prisoners of war. Yeah, some people who are making good content and making good points and showing good, let's say, receipts, as a lot of people like to say. And then those, they're kind of substantiating that the game of being changed around so that you cannot pinpoint who you are. So let's say if you're a POW and this is the land that you are in and it's been colonized and renamed. Again, it's like saying somebody said stole your damn bike. Back in the days, those fellas, you know what I'm talking about. You done left your bike, ran up in the house right quick, went up in the crib right quick, left your bike outside, somebody seen you, peeped your smitties, go ahead, picked it up, boom, got you, and they rolled off with it. You come out, oh man, you sad, everything. Days done go by, next thing there, you see somebody riding a bike. Kind of got your seat, kind of got your reflectors on it. Got some Honda straps on there and everything. But they done changed and painted a little bit. Now you see the bike, you go up to my man, hey man, I think that's my bike. My man looking at you. Now he know that ain't his bike, but he think he done, he done covered up in disguises that you can't even tell. Acting just like you can't. He said, but it's his bike. Now, whether you gonna fight for your bike or not is another thing, but the point is, it's like this country here. Somebody done took your country, spray painted it, and claimed it as your own. So how do you expect to go to the system that they designed and talking about they're going to recognize you as being the people here? Do I need to say that again? Because, some people be acting like they be saying something real intelligent, like, there's no country. Well, maybe you already in the country you in, but they ain't going to never recognize it, so they never going to give acknowledgement. But the minute you start talking about some other places, oh, yeah, you could have that. As long as you don't get to claim my bike. The one I'm taking, the one that now is, hand over fist, riches, honor, prestige. I know, you ain't gonna get that like that, right? So anyway, so you think that we had to go through the normal way. I'm going to do a video to show you about these whole things and these treaties and where that systemic going back to. And how they really felt about those who they made these treaties with. It ain't me saying it's going to tell you the work and where it came from. Take it or leave it alone. That's up to you. But anyway, so and they go on more about in this report to talk about how that, again, they talking about ending racial injustices in impunity for rights violations by police. Right? Impunity for rights violations by police. Well, this was going back, again, they started with that George Floyd and everything that happened prior to then and even before then. Right? So we understand that, right? There's been a lot of rights been violated. Again, certain people say, no, that's just part of the game and you guys were just not complying. And then when these video cameras start showing what these reports that were being written versus what the video was saying, then that's the only time everybody can see that somebody was lying. Your word was not good enough. You always lying. You leave it up to them. And so they say they want that the people who speak out against racism to be heard. They want these countries to face up for the past wrongs. And they want through accountability and redress. Right? These are some sweet-tongued words, but again, it's like a proclamation. This is just all talk, right? So she put her foot down and said that she was calling on all states, not all states insurance, but all states to stop denying and start dismantling racism. She want all states. Now, there's states here, but it'd be the United States. So she's not talking about country. She's talking about here in the United States, that all states to stop denying and start dismantling racism in impunity, build trust, listen to the voice of the people of African descent, confront past legacies, deliver redress. That's what she's saying, right? They call them what they say. They got her speaking and saying these things, right? So we understand that, right? So she also talked about how monetary compensation alone is not enough. You got a lot of people when they talk about, I think I seen a video the other day, I think it was the Tim Black show, and that brother, that reverend that's from In Cobra was on there. And he talked about ADOS. And he was saying that the ADOS movement, and you don't have to, let's say you don't subscribe to ADOS, maybe you're talking about FBA, maybe you're talking about B1, maybe you're talking about BADOS, whatever it is, but we all still family no matter how you label it and how you titling it, right? But he tried to belittle it in a way that made it seem like it was just about just the check. It ain't just the check. The check is the starting point. You get what I'm saying? I mean, you're talking about a capitalistic country that's run on capital that you need in order to build your economics, to build institutions, to, build what you say freedom. And we don't think that a country that was built on free labor, that built up a country that you said is the world's greatest and leading in, so many different institutions, it wasn't because of that free hand start that built from money. That's the first part of talking about redressing, accountability, and reparating is not going to have money. So why do everybody want to put in say that if you give black people money, they ain't going to do nothing but spend it? What else do you do with money? What else do you do with the money? Hey, you ever thought about that? You go work some damn way and somebody sitting there talking about checking you about why, how, and what you spend your money on. It's your money. So, they try to always downgrade black people. Oh, they ain't gonna do nothing but buy Jordans. And it's my money. The hell do you worry about why you in my pocket watching about what I'm gonna spend? What is it to you if what I do with my money? That falls on me and my family. Got nothing to do with you. That don't mean the totality of us is gonna take our money and blow it. Those who blow their money, you ain't never had nothing. Wait a minute, let me put it like, let me give a good analogy, maybe you can understand. If your ass was in the damn desert, been in the desert for a week, I can't say a week, because they say what 3-4 days without water, your ass is dead. So let's just say you've been in the desert for 2 days, and you came across a half a cup of water, a little party cup, how they a little sip, just enough a little sip for a grown person. You gotta keep pouring some juice in there, right? You know what I'm talking about. So you go ahead and you find it's hot as shit though. It's hot because it's been sitting out there. You're like, damn, a mirage, but the shit was real. So the person who been in there, in that damn desert, burned up hot as shit feel like rust in his throat. You gonna tell that person how to drink that little cup of water? Or you need to just take a little sip until you can get to the other end. Maybe he said, I ain't gonna make it to the other end, but I'm going, whatever I got, I'm thirsty as shit, and whatever, it's gonna suffice for right now. When your ass is desperate and without, the first thing when you get the opportunity to get something, you're going to satisfy your need of that moment. There is no future at that, at that moment. Let me enjoy what I need for the moment, because I can't even see past 5 minutes from now, maybe. I can't see a week from now. But everybody want to be always trying to tell us how and what we supposed to do when we get our shit. Ain't nobody tell these other folks when they got their money. That y'all shouldn't be always trying to tell, you know what I'm saying? Stop that bullshit. But anyway, so again, she wants them to confront the past legacies and deliver redress. Monetary compensation is not alone, right? To rectify or make up for the injustices. You can never make up. Like I said, let's say, for instance, in the scripture say, forgive somebody for 777 times. You throw that out the window when it comes to this here. They done reneged. They done broke so many promises that don't even apply in this situation. Way beyond that, right? But again, as she talks about how reparations should not only be equated with financial compensation, it should include restitution, rehabilitation, acknowledgement of injustices. Now, wait a minute. Rehabilitation. That's like same thing with this incarceration business. People go in and out of these jails. They don't go in and come out better. Now, again, that may be upon the individual, right? But like I said, everybody not built to be in school. Let's say, for instance, let's say you learn a trade. Let's say that a person goes in and learns a trade. Is that trade applicable outside of the institution of incarceration? Because we all kind of, those who've been reading and know, a lot of those jobs that have a lot of that trade and that good job, that shit is in the CCA shit, ain't it? That shit is all part of the damn incarceration system. Shit, you can't get a job on the outside, but if your ass get locked up, they got a job waiting for you. Ain't that something? You can't get a job on the outside, but if you get locked up, they got a job for you. So in the sense of her saying this, it's kind of like saying, you expect the people who've been all this time of the stuff of your report is about to lay out, somehow they're going to be able to do rightfully restitution, rightfully the rehab, acknowledge the injustices. I mean, acknowledge it. Apologies, memorialization, educational reforms, and guarantees. Well, money gonna be the first start, and then all that other stuff, that goes according to the word and deeds and the actions. You can stipulate all kinds of stuff, but we know what they say: cash in the hand is better than the bird shit in the other hand. Right? Cash in the right hand is better than bird shit in my other hand. Right? I can pay somebody to come clean this hand. If you give me 2 hands of let's say pigeon shit, I can't do shit with that. I just still got shit on my hands. But anyway. So again, she being a former president of Chile, she gave some praise and acknowledgement to the Black Lives Matter movement and talking about the grassroots leaders and how they need to be listening through the communities and how they have an ear to the communities, and that she believed that the funding and public recognition and support should be given to them. Well, wait a minute. We kind of found out that they got $90 million. Families who were associated, again, being in a fraternity that nobody really wants to be in, but being part of that, to have, money that has not been allocated to none of them, that the names that they use to propagate to get the $90 million. And then when they talk about how they did allocate, that was only a small portion, but the big chunk of the money, no one still has. Where did the money go? And now that you're seeing people falling up out of there who were in the leadership role and got their stuff and they gone. So what was the whole front? And then we talking about funding, that's been kind of, mysterious, and how all that money and who's been getting all that money. So you're going to have to find another way to do that. We understand you want to give acknowledgement to the movement, and acknowledging the grassroots leaders and those who are leading in the communities and so forth, and giving them recognition. We're talking about that funding and support. There's got to be a better way and a better system how that's going to be, and so that the people who the Black Lives Matter movement and we as the people, how that trickles into our community so that we can benefit from it, not just being a slogan and somebody getting funding and it's still the same old recidivism of the same old, right? Same old soup, just reheated. And so her being the UN-backed Human Rights Council commissioned the report. They had a special session. Again, it was after the following the murder of George Floyd. And they believe, based on what we just seen not too long ago, the verdict against Derek Chauvin, I believe that this is a momentous time, because this would be a seminal point in the fight against racism. They say they can use this as a catalyst, but it's kind of like saying, for instance, if you was watching let's say you was watching a basketball game, and the score was like 80 to about 2. So finally, when they score that first 2, or 80 to 0, and then finally this other team score, is they side of their team going to just now, they just all going to cheer and be like, yeah, we're in the game now. It's 80 to 2. We got a long way to get back in this game. It's about time you scored. You know what I'm saying? It's about time you scored. So anyway, so that's, to say that this is momentous. We don't, no, not no one victory. Don't make this momentums at all. It's 80 to 2, right? Probably made it like 100 to 2. But anyway, so the report said they had about 340 people. Most of them were African descendants. And they had people who were experts, and had hundreds of contributions and writings from governments, the review of the public material. And they did most of the analysts. They said about 190 deaths. They were mostly here in the United States. And in that analyzing, they showed how law enforcement officers are rarely held accountable for right violations, crimes against people of African descent. Similar patterns of mistreatment by police across many countries, right? They say it's kind of like the same old, no matter where you go. It's the same outcome, the same way, and the same outcome when it comes to being accountable. And so, according to this report, they said that its ultimate aim is to transform. We don't know what that means. These words, right? These are just words. They want to transform systemic responses by government to address racism. Government is almost like wearing drawers. It's going to change. Who may be there in the beginning right now, then, election will come in 2 years. And then you got other people coming in who differ from where originally these people who are not there anymore. So it just stagnates the game. If you ask me, it's not really a game that's conclusive. It's really a game according to we get enough people who are collectively being in this position that's going to make, voting on whether the yay or nay this. But as long as you got the revolving door, people coming in and out, it's just really just pacifying, right? You can say this rhetoric, but when it comes down to really getting this shit done, it ain't gonna get done like that. It's just all a fluff game. But anyway, and so they want to talk about it again, although they talk about the legacy of slavery, racism, violence faced by African Americans was clearly the major theme in this report. They're talking about 60 countries around the world, Belgium, Brazil, Britain, Canada, Colombia, France, and others also having the same, situations. But again, not the same as we here in the United States. Now, when you look at this, you see they say face racism. Going back to what I said I seen in that show when they were talking about that brother from In Cobra. And he was talking about, again, the reparations and talking about just getting money in the hand. And that somehow that if black Americans are trying to get their money, it's cutting out everybody else. And then his way of looking at it was about, well, everybody that comes here gets, they go through racism. They get discriminated against. So make me understand this. So you who come from another land, that come here, say, for a better life, and then you get discriminated against, you go do some racism. Does that equate to people who've been here that's not able to run to any other place like you were able to run? If we talk about priority about incidents, who goes first? Or is it because you don't respect that you're only seeking for yourself, that somehow if we getting some, you supposed to get some? But everybody try to say that we are divisive. It just showed to us really that a lot of y'all just don't give no fuck about black Americans. You're only here to get. And if you have to step on, walk on, stomp on, it's all good in y'all book, right? So that's pretty much part of what she's saying in this. Again, like I say, the UN in itself, really, what kind of power do the UN really got? It don't have a military. Right? Matter of fact, let me I'll put that up there. No, hold on, put that up there. Yeah, put that back up on the screen there, right? So matter of fact, to even show you that the UN, when it was doing like what she's saying now, and want to sit there and say that, how about this? Did y'all know that this had happened? Let me show y'all this. The United States announced its withdrawal from the UN Human Rights Council. Do y'all know that? Did y'all know that the United States had announced this withdrawal from the UN Human Rights Council? And now what they want to talk about is that they say it was through the Trump administration that is getting out. But I haven't heard where Biden has gone back in. I wonder why. You just made this report, right? You just made that report, right? You made this report, right? About the UN right chief and reparations needed for people facing racism, right? And they had pulled out. But according to some of the things I read, I don't think they can, and they have to have a solid, real reason to pull out. But why would they be wanting to get out of the UN? Does it have something to do with the closeness of the possibility of reparations. Is that what this is about? And this is why all this heating's turning up and all this stuff that's dealing on with that we seeing out here. And it got something to do with that they're being put in a position that they're going to have to eventually deal with this. And so maybe the remedy is try to find a way to, purge so that, by the time they do it, it won't be that many. Yeah, could be, never know. Matter of fact, I think I even have where she mentioned. Do I got that? I think we got that, right? Can we get that? Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, okay, hold on. Let's go. I think we got it. Do we got that? Hold on. Go back. I think we got that. Go back. Hold on. 1 second, y'all. Hold on. You got that set up, sir? I think you're ready. Okay. Yeah, this is her. She said this. Let's do that and then come back. Hold on. Yeah, take that break and just come right back. Come on.
The status quo is untenable. Systemic racism needs a systemic response. We need a transformative approach that tackles the interconnected areas that drive racism and lead to repeated, wholly avoidable tragedies like the death of George Floyd. I'm calling on all states to stop denying and start dismantling racism, to end impunity and build trust, to listen to the voices of people of African descent, and to confront past legacies and deliver redress. We examine death at the hands of law enforcement officials in different countries with varying legal systems and found striking similarities and patterns. Several families described to me the agony they faced in pursuing truth, justice, and redress, and the distressing presumption that their loved ones somehow deserve it. It is disheartening that the system is not stepping up to support them. This must change. States must show a stronger political will to accelerate action for racial justice, redress, and equality through specific time-bound commitments to achieve results. This will involve reimagining policing and reforming the criminal justice system, which have consistently produced discriminatory outcomes for people of African descent. Only approaches that tackle both the endemic shortcomings in law enforcement and address systemic racism and the legacies it is built on will do justice to the memory of George Floyd and so many others whose lives have been lost or irreparably damaged.
All right, so we are back, right? So you heard what she said, right? Again, I told you the gist of what was said in the report, but you heard it directly from my mouth. You know how some of my people is. You can hear us say certain things and it don't have no validation, but the minute you hear them say it, oh, it must be true. So maybe there's some things formulating in the background that is forcing people to have this, accountability, right? So that's what we're kind of hearing that again. Then we see the story that I'm about to touch on here was the fact that wasn't the first time that when you think about Bob Johnson, that wasn't the first time that you heard him talk about reparations. He had said some stuff earlier in the year, and I'm not even sure if this is they re-reported it, but I don't know if this is new. Or did he state this again? Because they republished this story. I'm assuming that he said it again. But we'll go ahead. Let me show you what they had put out here right quick. And you all, man. There you go. All right, so go ahead. Show. All right, before we go there, I guess we might as well, some people sitting in here, right? Let's go ahead and take this quick little break and be right back. Check this out, y'all. Hey, you sitting here watching the video. Why you sitting there? Put your hand on that like button, click it, thumbs it up, share this video, comment. You can like or dislike it. We don't care about that. And also, if you ain't over here and subscribe, what you waiting on? Get yourself over there and subscribe to get on up to We Up Report. So you can stay up because we're going to keep you up. That's how you help keep this channel going. You can also do some monetary donations. We'll tell you about that later. But right now, wake yourself up, like, share, and comment. And don't forget, when you subscribe on that button, hit that put all notifications. All right, we are back. I think we back. We back? Yeah, we back. All right, so you see on your screen there, 14 trillion. You can get all that, sir. Thank you. It says Robert L. Johnson calls for $14 trillion reparation proposal, right? This came out on June 30th, 2021, coming out of Grio. And, basically after we just seen, I'm going to just say, let me just say this. Let me say this. After what we just seen with that BET business, now those who are Gen X who've been around, remember when BET originally started and what was being promoted compared to where it is now, it's not like, how they say I think old white son was talking about my generation, right? We ain't trying to talk shit and, put you down. Because there's some good, in every generation, our parents was like that bullshit rap, right? And then here it is now, it's, second generation or so of it. So we not tripping on that because we, the beginning of school of that. So the point is, here was Robert L. Johnson, who is the one who originated, who had BET, and then to sell. Now, let's put it like this. Part of our code has to be, it may be discriminatory. So I'm not going to say it in the discriminating way. I'm just going to say it in the way that I think we understand. You could put a for sale sign in the window, right? Meaning that it's EEOC, that everybody who come by has the opportunity to buy this home. So let's just imagine back in the days when our people were going to some of these white neighborhoods and they had a for sale house sign. Yeah, it was for sale. They might even showed it to you. But somehow you didn't get the house, right? Because they were discriminating against us, right? Now, am I advocating on that? No. What I'm saying is, when you own, let's say, an institution, right? You have an establishment that is a feeder for your people. Wouldn't it just be, good business that if you're going to hand over something that has a mechanism of, let's say, a mechanism and power to control minds and hearts and spirit, why will we just give it to any damn body and think that somehow they gonna do right by us? So you see a lot of people have their problems about what they seen, and I ain't got to get into all that. Everybody know what they seen and what they heard, and it's like, do he have any kind of, can we hold him any accountable for any of this? Or this all sales are good? So on code means business means anybody who comes. But I think that in certain situations, I think it's an unspoken code. I think it's just something you just naturally know. Certain things you don't give, let's say, for instance, your children. If you was out somewhere and you, let's say, whether male or female, and you had to go to the bathroom bad, and you had a baby, would you just say, turn to somebody to your left or right, could you hold my baby, let me go run up in here and pee right quick, and you don't even know these people like that? Huh? Maybe even think you know them like that. Right? You seen movies do that, something like that, and come back in the baby, and then they gone. Right? So that's the same thing I'm saying here is, you gave away your baby to people to be able to Simon Says our people, and now we're still fighting the recidivism of the shit that they done put in. And then we're sitting here complaining about something, but we don't have no real control because it's either don't watch no more, don't participate no more, right? But the damage is already done. So I just think that it should be an unspoken code about certain institutions and businesses and establishments that we have that should never go in the hands of people who may not have our best interests. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that that's, I just think that's an unspoken code. They've been doing it. They've been doing it to us all this damn time. So why is everything is all good with us? And then wonder why we keep being in these positions. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, we're going to say again, here it is, the BET founder. They call it the billionaire businessman, they call him, right? And he talks about how he went on Capitol Hill with a bunch of black conservatives. I don't know who these black conservatives are. And what they were supposed to be having and addressing was about the wealth disparities and the staggering income decline of black wealth in America. And they had talked about recent reports that had been released from the Brandeis University, and it was substantiating about the wealth gap between whites and African Americans and how that has quadrupled over the course of a generation. And Bob Johnson felt the disturbing that the African American gains in education have not lessened economic barriers. How would it? Why would it? A people who come from nothing being educated still doesn't do anything for you economically, because even with the education, you still need a damn job. So even if you take a poor person and get them educated and they got the education, they still can't go and establish nothing. They still need somebody to work for to build some kind of economics. Then they can build their own. So how could education have been the answer? You still needed to have capital so that those can build institutions to build from the education. But the way that this system is designed, and a lot of you not going to agree with it, you get your education so that you keep Nebuchadnezzar shit running, right? You're here to keep Nebuchadnezzar. Remember, he took the choices of the Israelites, changed their name, took their talents to keep his shit running. I'm just going to say it like a T.I. is, right? And so, building black wealth, it's not going to come from just education. And if he is the first black billionaire, and then you got Jordan and Oprah, if you took all the millionaires and billionaires and tried to build this so-called, let's say, what they call it, Wakanda, they be broke before it can even pop off. So that just goes to show we ain't really got that kind of money like that. So according to what Bob Johnson was talking about the economic empowerment in the black communities, we came up with this 5-point policy and talking about encouraging investment in black businesses. You got people who got hundreds of years in advancement on you, and you just now sprouting bud. Your people already said they ain't got money. Even with black businesses, you're still not going to be able to be, it's not going to make you economically strong. It's still going to take time. It's not saying not to do it. And just kind of saying, hold on, man. pouring in a cup that got a hole in it that won't fill to the damn top. They keep doing this shit and it ain't rising. It ain't going nowhere. It's like I'm just pouring and ain't nothing happening. Oh shit, it got a hole in the goddamn cup. Right? So they talking about alleviate tax burdens on lower middle shit. I think black Americans themselves should be tax exempt. What y'all think? I think we should have been in the tax exempt. Dred Scott case told we wasn't citizens, so why are we paying taxes? We should be in the same class as the Indian. We should be exempt like some of you say we are, right? And so he's talking about how alleviate tax burdens from the low and middle income families, stop the abusive payday loan practices, shit, right? Loan sharking, huh? I think it's called usury, right? I think it used to be 33 1/3%. Some states don't have a usury penalty. You can do whatever the hell. So they just playing in the game. They know that you ain't got no other places the way the banks don't fuck with you. So we use curse exchange, payday loans. That's where you going in, and we gonna eat a lot of your shit right off the bat before we even hand you the damn money. It's big business. Time you get paid, we get paid before you get paid in your hand. Anyway. So he says all that, right? But my whole thing is, fuck it. We gonna go to hunt. Fuck that. I'm gonna talk about this damn gold. Fuck all that, cause all that shit is bullshit, right? 14 trillion. I don't know where you came with that money from. You talk about the shit that you're saying. I don't know where that number coming from. Talking about short-term borrowing. Emergency loans made by minority banks, lending institutions to black families. I mean, all this is still going back to the person who, again, put you in the position and asking them to do right and help you. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a pessimist. Maybe I'm pessimistic about this shit. Y'all optimistic, I'm pessimistic. They said, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, right? Well, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. Where the fuck the shit go, right? But when it goes to hundreds of years, then begets retardedness, right? All right. So I got something that I seen that I said, well, fuck it. Why don't y'all go ahead and, just go ahead and, fuck it. Go ahead and do this, huh? There was some Union gold. The FBI hunt for Civil War treasures details in unsealed affidavit. Let me say that again. Union gold. FBI hunts for Civil War treasures detailed in unsealed affidavit. What? Oh, yeah. Somebody said some Union gold, but it wasn't Union gold. It was actually somebody else's gold. So let me tell you about this right quick, Ryan. Let me tell you about this, Ryan. So according to them, they said there's a 30-page affidavit by the FBI special agent, and it was from a treasure hunter. And old newspaper clippings, magazine articles, and they use this as probable cause. And what they come to find out, there was a ton or more gold that was mined in California that was supposed to be on its way to the mint in Philadelphia when it disappeared back in 1863. Now, 1863, all right, for those who are avid watchers over here understand this show, we talk about that a lot, or have talked about it. So let's go ahead and let me tell you some more about this. So supposedly this mint that was supposed to be this gold that was from California that was supposed to be going to the U.S. mints in Philadelphia somehow got buried in a cave located outside what they say about a 217,000 acre state forest. Now, according to they said the gold may have been stolen by some shadowy groups called, they said, the Knights of Golden Circle, right? The Knights of Golden Circle. But these reports now have said that they think the government may have found this gold. So members of the FBI and They found some maps and details and how they transported this gold from the West to fund the war back in 1863. And so the history became about this lost gold ingot treasure. That's what they call the lost gold ingot treasures. And so this gold ingot was, they said, how they tried to hide it is they had painted it black, hidden it under some false bottoms of the wagons, and it's supposed to be camouflaged in a way so it looked like it was just carrying ordinary freight. So they had paid what they call an old wood rat known as Joe, and he was supposed to lead this caravan, and somehow he became helplessly lost. And guess what? The gold was never found, right? So they don't know old Joe Rat got stuck up while he was in some kind of conspiracy. Now, the story was actually, they say, a waybill. They say it was a waybill. It was a coded map that the Knights of the Golden Circle used to mark hidden caches. Caches. And this group, when they talk about this Knights of Golden Circles, they operated in both the Union and the Confederate States during the Civil War. So they was on both sides, right? Kind of like when you think about the Rothschilds, how they say they funded both sides of the war and they was making all the damn money, right? So in this case, these golden, Knights of the Golden Circle was kind of working on both sides. And so, according to what they said, they were burying weapons and coins and gold and several bullions. They said, which a lot of it had been stolen from robberies of banks and trains carrying payrolls to the Union Army. So, it is mug inside game. It is smart mugs, smart criminals. Hey, man. My man up here, the stagecoach right for that. We cool, and he ready to say, let him get stuck up and, we going to do this thing. Right? So that's what they're trying to insinuate a little bit. And so they believe that they located this gold. They were conducting some tests with some radars and metal detectors. And then they hired a contractor to survey a site, and he went up there with this microgravity meter. And so he went up there doing what he doing. He detected a large underground mass, as they said, matching that of gold that was having a weight of up to 9 tons. 9 tons of gold. And so the government, they said, the federal government was worried that the state of Pennsylvania might try to seize the gold. Because again, they're going back to 1863. Originally, according to the story, said they were probably going to Philadelphia. So Philadelphia said, well, that's supposed to be our shit. Federal government said, no, we got jurisdictions because we got the FBI in there, right? So we the ones took upon ourselves to go investigate, and we done had surveyors and stuff go out there, and what they done found seemed like this could be it. So they determined there was a scientific basis to conclude that there was 9 tons of gold buried at this site. Uh-oh, y'all. 9 tons, right? 9 tons of gold. You know how much 1 ton of gold is? Did a little research and said about $46 million. So if you got about 9, 10, so we're talking about $500 million, right? That's about $500 million worth of gold. That technically was Confederate money. So if 1863, this country is fighting what you say today, you're fighting for the freedom of slavery, and that was Confederate money, and the Union won, we didn't get no Homestead Act. You took our money out the Freedmen Bank. I think this is a good place to start with a down payment for reparations because it don't belong to nobody. But it should belong to Black America. What y'all think? Don't you think that money, that gold should belong to us? Mr. Blowback, you crazy. Well, that's what they probably going to say when they hear this. You know, goddamn, go get your ass out of here. But I just think that, again, going back to the Civil War, and the Civil War had something to do with y'all selling, it was about freeing us. Well, there's a discrepancy of whose gold it belongs to. The federal government says it's his. Now the Philadelphia Mint says theirs. Well, we black Americans saying, how about that's our goal? Why don't that just be the down payment? So everybody want to talk about how they don't want to get none of their money. Here's 9 tons of gold that could be a down payment to start the process. Well, again, this is the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Right? All right, so y'all tell me what y'all think, man. We haven't got all this shit together right over here. It's kind of a little run raggedy a little bit, right? Right? Ain't that something, man? 9 tons of gold that they're trying to keep on the hush, but you put it in the air. I'm smoking it like, oh shit, really? That's something like that. We can get a claim on that. So, Pennsylvania, y'all got y'all brotherly love, right? Y'all brotherly love, and the federal government who already know what's up with us between you and us. So why don't y'all just use this 9 tons of gold as a down payment? Start the process, right? Who gonna cry about it now? Who wants to cry? And it's gold too, right? I heard a story that says Haile Selassie supposedly had left us some gold that somehow imaginably disappeared. There you go. So anyway, I don't know what y'all think, man.